I've been hearing how HS2 is going to be delayed beyond that target date of 2033. No reasonable way to deliver the railway line on schedule and within budget is the message we're expecting to hear from the Transport Secretary. I've got Rico Wojtulewicz with me, who's Head of Policy and Market Insight at the National Federation of Builders. Rico, morning to you.
Morning, Sean.
What's this latest development with HS2 doing for the reputation of Britain's ability to get big projects done?
Sustaining it as not a very good reputation. I mean, I've got some sympathy with the government here because this has been no surprise to the majority of the construction industry. The planning process delays things so much. And so there are so many elements to this that just haven't got off the line. And this is what happens when you dilly-dally. You look at the Lower Thames Crossing, another potential rail project that was removed due to cost and the recognition that they don't think that passengers will be using that line much. Fast forward 16 years, we've got Freeport, so you'd think it'd be sensible to have a rail line that connects the East Coast and the South East. So I think what it really says is we don't really have a strategic focus on infrastructure that grows the economy, and that's what's been lacking.
Are you expecting that to be resolved this week? Tomorrow we're set to get the infrastructure strategy. Are you seeing that investors, builders are poised to jump on board with something?
Do you know what? Industry is actually a bit more buoyant than it was previously, and that's quite a surprise because things were really tough. Do I think things are going to change considerably? I think investors will think, yes, there's good opportunities here, and therefore the building industry will be supportive and they'll be available. But while we have had some really good announcements on planning reform, and people must remember we're only a year in, and that might seem like a long time, but it's not in planning terms. Actually, we probably need to see what this infrastructure strategy actually looks like, an industrial strategy, actually looks like when you start asking the questions such as, do you have the capacity in the grid? What about the water? What are you going to alleviate there? How are you going to speed up that element of the project? Because they're the things that create real long delays.
What have the delays in HS2 and the constant bad headlines around it done for the building industry? How does it react to the reputation falling of our ability to build that kind of stuff?
Well, I think it's the capacity element that's the most important. So if you consider it, 80% of construction apprentices are trained by small and medium-sized companies who only build, say, 9% of homes and win too few projects via infrastructure because it's always the very large contractors that win it. So if you need them to gear up, they need pipeline certainty of works. If they have none and they're hand to mouth and it takes 2 to 3 years to train an apprentice and then 2 more years for them to become competent, you can see from that little piece of the jigsaw that you are going to be stifled, and it means that forward planning is very difficult because you simply won't have the capacity for the workforce, which means then not only can the government not get projects over the line, but the companies can't actually employ anybody.
Is that because have they gone abroad or have they gone to different sectors? Where's that pipeline gone?
Well, it's the same in journalism. If you don't have the work available, then people just drop out. We've seen so many, particularly apprentices, start an apprenticeship in construction and then end up just falling in different sectors because they can't find that guaranteed work or they don't find the enjoyment. You know, it feels to a lot of people like you're just, I guess, doing a job. You're not planning a career. And that's in part down to the way we kind of contract and the way that we don't think about enabling the people that train and retain. Retention is the most important part, to actually work with these apprentices because they literally are hand to mouth, so many of them. And that's not just in housing, that's the broader spectrum of the construction industry.
Rico Wojtulewicz, thank you for joining us this morning, Head of Policy and Market Insight at the National Federation of Builders.